You're listening to this week's episode of the Vacation Rental Business in Today's World podcast. You're about to start transforming your business and life with the information found here. We interview some of the greatest and most influential minds in the vacation short-term rental industry and supporting businesses. The information found here is a combination of brain science, transformational thinking, safety and loss prevention, and vacation short-term rental knowledge and experiences, all rolled into one to help you and your business to achieve levels you never thought possible. I am glad you are here, and now please welcome your host, Eric Thibodeau.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Safer VRs podcast. I'm Eric Thibodeau, your host. So I took a couple of weeks off from podcasting and basically went to the Vacation Rental Manager Conference in Las Vegas and was there for almost a week. Went to some pre-conference activities, all vacation rental related, of course. And then my wife and I went to Disney World in Orlando. I'll talk a little bit about that. But the VRMA conference was huge. It was a good conference and learned a lot of new things, met a lot of new people, spent a lot of time with the track booth and beyond. We were doing at Current Tide's vacation rental business. We're in the process of switching to track here in just a few days, and we were working on some issues. So it was good to be there face to face and talking to people, and of course, meeting a lot of new people and seeing some people I hadn't seen in a while. So the VRMA conference was really good. I'll get back to that again here in a bit. Vacation in Orlando was good. It was hotter than I expected it to be, in the low 90s, a little cooler here in Houston, but we had a good time. I really noticed how hospitality is just baked into everything at Disney, from the people you meet to just the rides, the hotel. I think we took a boat, we took a train, we walked a lot. So hospitality was there, and I looked a lot at safety. You know, you're staying in lines there. You're always waiting on something, I feel like, at Disney. So I'm looking at safety and loss prevention, fire prevention. And really, I think I found one handrail that was missing, which I brought up to the hotel. But really, all in all, the safety and hospitality is a good mix and well done at Disney World. So I hope you've had a good 2 weeks. It was good for me back this week here on the podcast. And I wanted to talk a little bit about some of the things that we experienced at VRMA conference in Las Vegas. We were at the Caesars Palace Hotel and Conference Center. And like I said, I went over early and went to a couple of meetings in advance. And here's some things that I picked up that I believe as a vacation rental industry, we need to take a look at when we're at a conference. You know, we've spoken several times here about the importance of understanding and providing information to your guest about what's the address of the property that you're in. And so two things happened the very first couple of days I was there. One, we were in one of these pre-conference sessions in the conference center at Caesars Palace, and fire alarm goes off right after lunch. And so what do? I grabbed my stuff and my phone and I said, I'm getting out. I'm evacuating. I announced everybody, and a lot of people just weren't moving. So I told the person running the meeting, I said, I'm going to go see what's happening. Basically, it said that there was an alarm. They were in the process of activating it. The speaker system was clear out in the hallway, but not in the meeting room. So I went downstairs to the next level, and I found that there was no problem there at all on that level. And I found out, talked to someone finally, and they said, hey, yep, there's an alarm malfunction, and we're going to clear it up. So I go back up to the meeting room, and everybody was, now it's probably been about 10 minutes, and people are starting to evacuate. So one of the things that I observed, and I observed it really throughout the entire conference, is that here we are, we have an emergency, and people don't know what to do, or they're slow to respond. I think it's really interesting how people behave when they identify an emergency alarm and they don't immediately detect that there's a fire or a problem. I've experienced the same thing. You know, I went to Oklahoma State. I worked in Oklahoma and I worked in Alabama, both very areas that are prone for tornadoes. So this was before we actually had tornado really cool alarms and everything, and we would go out and spot tornadoes. But one of the interesting behaviors that actually happens is when the tornado warning sounds, or you say, there is a tornado warning, or tornado has been sighted near our site. What's the response? I need to not evacuate. I need to take shelter in a known shelter, protected area, and I need to move to the inside of my house But what I find most people do is they go outside. They open the door, they go outside, they start looking for the tornado. All this is time that they could be spending to see how are they going to protect themselves. So it's the opposite behavior. When the fire alarm sounds, people should evacuate and move away from the area, yet they tend to stay there. And why is it that it happens? I mean, I think we could take a look at it, and our mind believes that, hey, I don't detect a problem, even though there's an alarm that's telling me there's a problem. And with a tornado, it's like, okay, they're telling me there's an actual problem, but I don't see the problem, so I'm going to go look for the problem. So why is it that we run into these issues? Some of it is because people don't want to be seen as, well, I'm evacuating, or you're scared, you're nervous. Why are you doing that? Oh, it was nothing. So the next time my brain remembers, hey, last time I evacuated and there was nothing, and then I had to walk up all those stairs again. So we kind of reinforce those type of things, but we really need to focus and say, hey, there is a problem until I know there's not a problem, and I need to shelter. I need to evacuate to a safe location in a conference center. Really, there was no one from the hotel or the conference center that came up. I never saw the fire service or anything. Just found the worker on the second floor that said it was a malfunction. So this is not a really good behavior. And when you're running a hotel conference center, either it is if you're running an HOA or you're running a property management business, everything is a problem until you identify there is not a problem. So here's the second part that I identified. Once again, still the weekend, we're at dinner, and I'll just back up for a second. Do you ever remember a situation, maybe when you're younger, even when we're older, someone falls down or there's a problem? And I've seen it where people laugh at the person who fell. And I guess because of my training and years, when I see a person fall or maybe potentially injured, I just go right into emergency mode. I respond. And we were at a dinner and we were talking, and someone just said, "Oh my God." And I looked where they were looking, and someone had fell down, and they were having a medical type of event. Of course, I was an emergency medical technician for 10 years and the fire service for 20. So boom, I get up and I start to begin to assess what's happening to this person. And I get up, right? I know we're in Caesar's Palace at one of the restaurants, right? I just go to someone at the desk, one of the managers, and I said, "We need emergency medical help." And I go back and help the person within 1 to 2 minutes. I didn't know this, right? Caesar Palace has their own emergency medical team. EMTs show up. We begin to talk to and help care for the patient. I give them an explanation of what I saw and what we've done to help the person, and then they take over. And then maybe like 10 minutes later, 12 minutes later, the fire department shows up. And they begin to do some assessments. And then, I don't know, maybe 15 to 20 minutes after that, after the initial incident, the ambulance shows up and the person's, taken away and is going to seek medical attention at the hospital. But just imagine that, hey, I didn't know where we were. I knew we were at Caesar's Palace, but it's just one of these things where you get what's called tunnel vision. You're working on the patient or you're in a situation. I don't know where I'm at. So I go and get help. And I was really pleased with the EMTs that I saw who came and began to start assessing and caring for the patient until, the fire department ambulance got there. And then I thanked every one of them as they were leaving, and I appreciate them. So once again, things happen when we're out. We need to move quickly. We need to get medical or emergency services en route. And if you don't know the address, you don't know where it's at, that's really difficult. So you just go and ask, right? But think about our guests. Once again, our guests are they booked this place maybe 4 months ago. They're staying at one of our properties that we're managing, and they have a problem and they don't know the address. And can you imagine how that works and how difficult, even if you dial 911 with an out-of-state cell number, it's really difficult to track and triangulate where that call is coming from. All of this time is getting chewed up, whether it's a fire or a medical or some other issue that you're facing that you need services for. So that was the second part. One is know where you're at, seek medical attention, and get the medical services moving by contacting someone nearby that knows or is local. And then my third observation is, of course, I've been to many conferences through the years. They just happen to be mostly about safety and fire protection, loss prevention. And we start every session that talks about, you're in this room. In the event of emergency, there's no planned emergency. We're going to wait for instructions, or if there's an emergency in this room, there's a room monitor who knows how to contact emergency services. And if we'll go ahead and exit out the room and go to the right, down the stairs, no elevators. And we give a little briefing that's like 30 seconds that says, here's what you do. And then there's a room monitor there who knows this information again. And then there can call someone who's with the hotel or the staff. Now, the hotel or staff really need to be doing these briefings. I've seen it where the hotel staff comes in or the conference center staff and gives you a briefing as well. It's typically in the larger rooms. We've completely missed this point, in my opinion, in the 2-3 big conferences I've been with VRMA. There's no instructions, there's room monitors, but really we need to engage the hotel to talk about, hey, here's where we're at, and here's the instructions that we want you to do. Because I may go to one conference and then I go to another one in 2 months or next year. What's changed? What's the instructions aren't to evacuate. The instructions are to stay in place and you'll be let out. It could be a host of things, but as the Vacation Rental Management Association and as we meet as the vacation rental world, we need to practice like we're going to play. That's the adage from sports. And so if we are going to tell our guests what the address is and what kind of emergency activities or procedures we want them to follow, then we need to do that when we're in a different location, when we're meeting, when we're at a conference, when we're at a training session. We practice like we play. And that's not at all what we're doing. This is an area I've submitted, and I encourage you to hopefully take this and say, hey, we need to make this change next time we have a conference, wherever it's at, whether it's VRMA or VRMA Intel or the Direct Book Show or your group meeting. You could even do it with your team meetings. So it's always important to practice like you're going to play so that when something happens, you're always ready. When we trained in the fire department, when I was in the fire department, we never responded, whether in training or in real life, we would if it was a real situation. So that means we were fully bunkered up. We had air packs ready to go. We rolled out a hose. We waited for instructions. We didn't freelance. The same thing like I'm going to do at a scene, emergency scene. I practiced before with my teammates, with my coworkers. So it's really important that we understand that. That's my third point. First one is understand what the alarms are and why don't we need to evacuate when they sound. Second is emergency situations happen frequently, whether we're with people that you know or you don't know. Be prepared, request help, and then take care of the situation as best you can based upon your training or skills. Third is we need to have instructions just like we do for our guests when we are in a location that we're not aware of. The Caesars Palace and Hotel and Conference Center is massive. There's 3 different wings of hotels. There's the conference center, there's a meeting room, there's the ballrooms, there's 3 levels there, and then there's just the casino and all the eating locations in the parking area. It's massive. And for us to think that we could understand that after like 4 days, I was just starting to understand, and I still got lost when I walked around. So we need briefings on what emergency procedures and evacuations when we're meeting as a conference or as a small team. So that's kind of the overview from VRMA and some observations I picked up, some things that I experienced. I hope we take this information, you take it, apply it to your team and to your business, and so that when we are in a situation, we respond like we've practiced. And if we haven't practiced, that we understand that we could be in a life-threatening situation, whether it's for us or our coworkers, and how would that feel if you weren't prepared? I'll leave you there, that thought, and I hope you have a great day. I hope you had some good experiences from the conference if you're able to attend. If not, there's been a lot of sharing, and I hope it continues. And I want you to go out and create a safe day. Take a look at us at safervrs.com, also Safer Vacation Rentals, and join our Facebook group, Safer Vacation Rentals, or join our paid group at Awakening Vacation Rental Safety. Go out and create a safe day. Please drop me a line or comments if you have any questions, comments, concerns. I look forward to hearing from you. Thanks.
Thank you for listening to Safer VR's podcast with Eric Thibodeau. If you enjoy this, I would love you to join my Facebook group, the Safer Vacation Rentals, for more of the same. You can also join our email list at www.safervrs.com.